The Audi Quattro Winter Games is one of the biggest snow sports events in the world. Since its inception in 2009, this biennial event has established itself as an important part of the winter sports competition circuit. During the Audi Quattro Winter Games, 14 events will be held for cross-country, alpine slalom, curling, big air, alpine giant slalom, freeski and snowboard halfpipe, and freeski and snowboard slopestyle. The Audi Quattro Winter Games is New Zealand's Winter Olympics, a festival of competition with many of the best winter sports athletes in attendance.
All the international people from around the world that are at the top of the game are travelling all the way down here for a competition that is, upper echelon, has a lot of prestige to it.
We can really showcase the New Zealand snow sports and the athletes that are coming and rising up through the ranks, and it's super important.
It's a massive event. We've got a World Cup, we've got an FP Platinum. There's all the motivation you need to throw down, and jump size is becoming less of a thing. It's more like who wants it more.
The level of competition is getting so high and the tricks are getting so big and everything's increasing so quick. I mean, you have to be so skilled to keep up in slopestyle, halfpipe and big air.
I think coming down here in our summers and being able to do these epic events like the Winter Games, it really installs all the training and all the improvements that you've made, and you get that test before our winter starts and the World Cup Tour starts, and I think they're fantastic.
This is my 6th year down in New Zealand. I've pretty much been to all winter games, and this one's one of the best so far. Just the course is unreal. This is honestly my favorite place in the whole world, so it's just nice to be doing another contest down here in beautiful New Zealand.
It's a place that feels like home, so you always want to give your best shot in something like that.
The turnout that we've got here tonight is really good. We took a big risk taking the opening ceremony from downtown up onto the mountain, and we've ended up with a bigger crowd than we got downtown. And I think that with the games and the way that it's growing and bringing Audi on board and their ability to leverage the games has really helped a lot.
I was first here at the inaugural Winter Games New Zealand in 2009. And now, 6 years on, the event has matured very nicely. We've seen year on year that more teams are coming here to participate in the Winter Games and, of course, combine it with training camps.
It's fantastic for Wanaka, for Queenstown. These Winter Games are right at the tip-top level of anything you can get. And if you look at the quality of the field who's here, we've got world champions, Olympic gold medalists. They're basically anybody who's anybody is here in Wanaka for Winter Games.
We've got a plan, and it's an ambitious plan. It's to grow the event, to grow the quality of the event, and to have a dual slalom happening at night on Coronet Peak, perfect snow, perfect weather, and the world's best, Ted Ligety and Michaela Schifrin. I couldn't ask for better.
We're here to work on our fundamentals, really. There's a time to go fast and there's a time to work on technique and tactics, and this is the time for technique and tactics. So really get our form dialed in for winter, so that then we can start putting down the gas pedal and going fast.
This is the best place to train probably any time of year. You guys have great snow. We watered this surface, so it's fully World Cup surface, and you can't get that everywhere, so it's really awesome to be down here and get good training.
New Zealand's awesome. This is actually one of my favorite trips every year to come down here because, skiing's great. It's good training for us, and it's nice to go down in the valley and you can go play golf or tennis or, go on a hike. So it's cool in that respect. I mean, we go to Chile in the summertime too, but when you're there, you're kind of like in desolation at the top of a ski mountain, and there's nothing to do. And here there's, so much more to do than just the skiing side of it. So we really love it down here.
That was fun. Pretty cool view up there, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be cool doing the duel at night there at Coronet Peak. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've done some duels in the World Cup a little bit too. We've had the team events and we have the one in Munich and whatnot. So we've done it a little bit, but it's definitely not something we're really used to doing on a regular basis.
For sure, all of us are, we're gunning for it, and this is kind of like a, see who's the best right now, and we're all going to be pushing for it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I heard there's a $15,000 cash prize, so I think, yeah, everyone's going to be out for blood that day.
And at the top of the course for the first semi-final in the men's dual slalom, 2 Americans, Ted Liggerty against AJ Guinness. AJ on the red course. Oh, and a little mistake, goes wide. Well, AJ out of the course. Now he'll still get a second run, but he'll have a time penalty, and you don't really want that when you're skiing against Ted Liggerty. So AJ just making his way down to the finish, and they'll head back round for their second run. Of course, the skiers compete on each course, and the skier who wins the first run will start with a slight advantage. The start gate will open just before the other competitor, and you take that advantage into the second run. But skiers get a shot on the blue and the red course, because although they are very similar, they are slightly different. So next up, Simon Stemmel of Switzerland, and he makes a little error against David Chadansky. Good smooth skiing, cross the line, and David Chadansky takes a slight advantage into the second run. And we move on to the second run of the men's semis. And Ted Liggerty in bib number 1 with an advantage from that first run. So he starts first on the red course. And AJ, with a bit of time to make up, he'll have to really charge, and that's not easy when you're skiing against Ted. Really aggressive skiing. He's closed the gap slightly, but I think it's all too much, and as I say that, pushes just too hard, and he's out. So Ted Liggerty progresses to the final.
Eamon, how was that run?
It was good. I mean, I got lucky that AJ went out first run, and he really had to push it there, so it made it a little bit easier on me, because he was actually one of the guys I was really worried about tonight, so pretty lucky to make it onto the final.
The second run for David Chadansky and Simon Stemmel. Simon wearing bib 18 and skiing on the red course. And David, with a slight advantage from the first run, takes that. And he's got about a gate on Simon. And he's pushing really hard, very tight to these gates. But again, too much of an advantage. And David is across the line, so it's David Chadansky into the semi-final, and we have 2 Americans who will be competing it out in the final for $15,000 first prize, winner takes all. As we move to the women's final, and the first run between Paula Moltzen and Michaela Schifrin. Michaela skiing on the red course in bib 101. And this is another very tight duel, can't call it as they come to the jump. Oh, and a little mistake by Paula. Paula Moltzen just losing her edge. And Michaela Schifrin crossed the line first, and again she takes a slight advantage into the second run. So here we go. The men's final. Ted Liggerty in bib number 1 versus David Chadansky. Ted on the blue course. Well, there's absolutely nothing in this. As they set up for the jump, they both take it very neatly. It's going to be hard to call this, but I think David Chadansky has just got the edge on Ted. He will take a very slight advantage into the second run. So just 2 runs to go. And it is the women's final we start with. So the second run of this women's final in the dual slalom, the inaugural night dual slalom here at the Winter Games. And Michaela Schifrin with a slight advantage from the first run. So takes a lead on the blue course. Colin Olsen absolutely driving, trying to close the gap. But it's just too much, and Michaela cruises across the line. So she can add the title of Winter Games dual slalom champion to her many titles. And with just 1 run left, it's the second run of the men's final. Ted Liggerty versus David Chowdansky, and David with a very slight lead from the first run. So David on the blue course as we look up the hill. Ted Liggerty on the red course. Well, really, there was such a little gap. They're almost neck and neck. Both charging, and it looks as if Ted is just over the jump first. Oh, and David's pushed too hard, made a mistake, skied out, and Ted Liggerty takes the title and the $15,000. He is the men's champion here at the Audi Quattro Winter Games, dual slalom. And it's just fantastic to have so many of the world's best alpine skiers here for this event. And it's a wonderful start to the Audi Quattro Winter Games 2015.
Oh, it was really fun. It was awesome. I've never night skied here in New Zealand. It's a beautiful country, but somehow it's even more beautiful at night. I mean, it was a great experience. It was really fun to end our trip on a race, and we're headed home tomorrow, so I feel good about it.
It was a battle. When we both made it into the final, we knew it was going to be a battle, and it was. I had a bad start, and I tried to catch up, and it didn't quite happen, and Ted beat me. But it was a lot of fun, and we had a good time.
This is a really cool atmosphere. I think having races at night is awesome because, you know, people can come down after a day of skiing and watch the event, and there's kind of a party atmosphere here right at the base area, so it's a lot of fun. And it's cool for us, too, to race at night because, you know, it's just a different style of racing than I guess you'd have midday, so this is a lot of fun.